Hey guys, and welcome back to the Middle Path Podcast. We're going to be discussing the next couple of videos that Candace released after Charlie Kirk was killed. We're up to videos 3 and 4. So we're going to be looking at some of the evidence and questions she was bringing regarding the assassination and regarding her accusation of Jewish donors. So let's get into it. So let's take a look at this clip from Candace. Now, just for some context about this clip, Tyler Robinson texted his boyfriend that he changed his outfit, while in reality, he only changed his shirt. So let's take a look.
Okay, and like I said, the biggest thing that jumps at me is he looks kind of content there. So he's got to be a full-blown psychopath, wearing half of what the feds told us he was wearing in the morning and half of what the feds told us that he was wearing during the shooting. Okay, so why did he text in this exchange at all and say that he changed outfits? When you've just said, I changed my t-shirt, if that's the reality, you just changed your t-shirt and that was enough? Was it just a t-shirt that he changed? The outfit, again, as I sensed yesterday, has always been problematic. I feel the outfit was the Fed mistake. It never made any sense to say that he wore an outfit onto campus, light khaki shorts and a maroon shirt, and then
Now, I think that the reason why Candace is noting this is because this is the type of question that is very easy to ask. You can ask it about average conversations, and I think you will find a lot of oddities in our normal conversations. People are not precise with the language they use, and if you expect them to be precise, you're going to end up with a lot of questions. So I don't think it's a big deal to say that I changed my outfit when I just meant my shirt. And I would put this question in the not even in the category of odd, it would be more in the category of completely irrelevant. So let's take a look at the next clip of Candace.
You're on the board of Turning Point?
Yeah.
Okay. When's the last time you saw Candace Owens?
In person?
Yeah.
2015, 2016.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No,
When's the last time she was at a Turning Point event?
Not in many years.
Okay.
But
so let's
you don't
without
even
even being
Adam.
biased.
Is
Candace even involved in Charlie Kirk's life at all?
No question, proof that Candace Owens has nothing to do. She would be in a perfect world if they didn't have this. What I already know was a very
happen because you guys are watching everything that I'm saying and you can watch them lie. Eric Bowling, I just don't even get this one. How can you say that I have not spoken at a Turning Point USA conference in years when I literally went on tour with Turning Point USA on college campuses last year? Like that's just incredible. You didn't know that I went. I was on tour for Turning Point USA last year. You don't remember that happening at all. Okay, then I get fired from the Daily Wire. Turning Point USA is the first to issue a Christ is King statement of support that I do.
Okay, so now I think that's actually very odd that he would lie. Eric Bowling would lie like that. I think that's very weird. I think Candace is 100% correct in her disbelief that they would just make believe that she was not there. So that would strike me as odd. For some context, we're going to be seeing Governor Cox talk about how they apprehended Tyler Robinson and how they picked him up in the same outfit he was wearing when he shot Charlie. Okay, so now
on September 10th, in which he is observed on video in a plain maroon t-shirt, light-colored shorts, a black hat with a white logo, and light-colored shoes. When encountered in person by investigators in Washington County on September 12th, in the early morning hours, Robinson was observed in consistent clothing with those surveillance images.
Okay, stop. That's actually a perfect place to stop right there. My source says he's lying. I don't like Governor Cox. Vibes. Okay, vibes. I don't know. Can't explain it. I'm getting tons of people that are messaging me telling me he's corrupt, that he forced himself onto the ballot, that he wasn't even supposed to be the governor. Allegedly. I just don't like him. Every time we find an inconsistency, I actually find him to be the mouthpiece of it, okay? So he is representing, and my source says falsely, that they picked up Tyler Robinson. And by the way, it makes perfect sense that my source is saying that that's not accurate. In the same outfits that we just showed you, okay, of the maroon thing that happens at 8 o'clock. We don't know what he was doing for 4 hours on campus, but he's telling us that for 33 hours, he decided that he was going to keep the outfit on. Now, remember, I told you that Tyler Robinson's classmate reached out and they insisted that this was an incredibly odd thing because he was very tidy. He was very clean. And they said that's the first thing that they went, that just sounds weird. He was a very tidy dude. Now I'm telling you that my source is saying he wasn't wearing that outfit when he got picked up. He wasn't wearing that outfit when he was brought to the office. If I have this wrong, this would be a very easy thing. Okay, surely they're going to have photos. They've got something for them to release. It's like, yeah, no, we totally got him. I want to be clear. If you are in the police station and you want to reach out and let me know more, tips@CandaceOwens.com, because I'm struck by this. This is what we should be hyper-focusing on. He kind of wraps it up and says he was wearing the same outfit. And that always sounded dumb to us. Why would you not take a shower in 33 hours, okay? That doesn't make any sense to anybody whatsoever. And people are saying that fact is untrue, okay? Now
let's talk about this. So I do think it's weird. Why would Tyler Robinson be wearing the exact same clothes that he wore when he killed Charlie? So that's odd. The thing is first of all, we're talking about somebody who was at the point where he murdered somebody. So this is not the type of person that it's going to be easy to get into his mind. The second thing I want to say is that I think that lying about his outfit really has no purpose for the feds to do. Like, if they're going to lie about something, why would they lie about his outfit? It doesn't make any sense. So for that reason, I think it's more likely that Candace says she has a source that it's not true and he was picked up in a different outfit. That is not enough for me. I don't trust her source. Her source could be lying. Her source could have made a mistake. And that's just not enough. I don't think it's that important. Look, if they did lie about it, I think that would be concerning, because why are they lying? However, I don't think there's enough evidence, just her source. I have no idea who that is. She could have made it up for all I know. I don't think she did, but it's possible that somehow there was a mistake. And why would Tyler Robinson? He could have showered and just washed his clothes and wore them again. Doesn't mean he didn't shower, but I do think it's weird. So let's take a look at this next clip. And in this next clip, we're going to see Candace's style of questioning. It's to pick up on these small oddities that are pretty normal, but she considers them to be not normal, and she'll make a whole big thing out of them. So let's take a look at this.
Day for our country, a terrible day for the state of Utah, but I'm grateful that at this moment we have an opportunity to bring closure to this very dark chapter in our nation's history.
Closure. He says closure. We got him. They already start in that he starts talking about the messages. He starts filling in the blanks. He said he had it. He put it in a towel. We have messages.
Okay, that's all we need for that. So I think, yeah, he said the word closure. She's upset because she wants the investigation to keep going. I don't think that's a crazy big deal that he said those words. She's implying he wants this to be closure because he wants the case to be over, because he doesn't want you investigating. I think that's a little ridiculous. I don't think that he would want that. And I think that that's a very normal phrase to use, because you apprehended the killer and you got him. If there's no known information about other people being involved, then that in some sense is closure. Obviously, can't have full closure. You can't, it doesn't really, he's not sentenced, nothing happened, but I think it's a normal phrase to use. Now for this next clip, we're going to see how Candace, now she switches from talking about Charlie Kirk and the assassination to somehow bringing it back to Jewish donors in Israel. So let's take a look at this next part of that video.
Seeing how much he was suffering, the hassle he was getting from people, and I was being attacked too, by the way. It was a huge effort. I wasn't fully aware of it, actually, because I don't go online that much, but there was a huge effort by people, some of whom I know and have helped, and like Seth Dillon at the Babylon Bee, for example, someone who had his own problems with free speech, who was famously canceled. And I like Seth Dillon. I had him on a couple of times. I had dinner with him to show support. Seth Dillon was out there demanding that Charlie Kirk take me off the roster, pull me off stage, because I had said things that Bibi didn't like or that he didn't like or whatever. Shocking that someone whose whole persona is wrapped up in the idea that we all get to speak, and if you don't like it, make a more compelling case, that person and many others like him were advocating for me getting pulled off the stage because they don't like what I'm saying. This is a trend, and one that we should be really concerned about. It's not just about Israel, by the way, at all. The trend is really simple. People with power don't want to hear disagreement. They don't want to be challenged, ever. That's why we have free speech, to acknowledge that even those of us or people with less power still have a right to talk because they're human beings. You don't own them. So time after time, Charlie would call me or come to see me and let me know, wow, or show me text messages. These people are really mad that you're speaking. And I would always have the same thought, like, I feel pretty moderate, actually. I've never been an Israel hater. Obviously, I'm not an anti-Semite. I just don't want more wars, and I don't want a foreign country humiliating my country and telling us what our laws have to be. I mean, this seems like pretty basic America First stuff, and he would say, I totally agree with you, but they want you off the stage. And I would always say, no problem. And he would say, no, it's important. It's a matter of principle. I want you to be there. Great. By the way, I'm not accusing anyone of being involved in that murder. I'm not trying to mutter darkly or imply anything. There's a lot we don't know about who murdered Charlie and why, but I don't know, and I'm not going to pretend that I do. But I think it's important to say that out loud because it's a fact, and there are many liars out there trying, Bibi Netanyahu, number one among them, shamefully, who are trying to distort the truth, a truth that I know and can prove.
What I want to add here is that it takes a truly demonic spirit, right, to be a part of the people that were swarming, pressuring, threatening, intimidating Charlie, to then flip in 1 second after he dies and say, pretend it never happened, like they were just great friends. That's weird to me. It's very weird to me. We wouldn't be here if they didn't do that. They could have said anything, by the way, like Josh, Hammer.
Okay, so let's talk about what we just saw. Tucker Carlson was noting that Jewish donors did not want Tucker at the event because Tucker does not support Israel. Now let's talk about this. If you're a donor, you have lots of money, why are you donating to something? Why would you give them money? Usually donations are a means of trying to get power over something. So I think that when you are donating, you're going to want it to serve your agenda. If your agenda is to be get more people to be conservative, to be more pro-Israel, then obviously you're not going to donate for somebody who is not pro-Israel. So I get where the donors are coming from. However, I think it's really not a good look, and I think it's not a good idea because you should not, while it's true you don't have to donate, but I think if you're going to donate and just don't, you shouldn't demand that somebody doesn't speak just because they don't agree with you. Look, you don't have to donate. If you're going to donate, I don't think you should be silencing people when you're donating. That's just my take. I can hear both sides to why you would say, well, if I'm giving my money, so of course I should be the one who, I'm only going to give it if it's under certain circumstances. I understand where that side is coming from. However, I do feel that it just doesn't seem right. It just doesn't seem right that you are going to only give money if somebody else doesn't show up because they disagree with you. I don't think Tucker Carlson has said anything anti-Semitic. Not from what I've heard so far. He's against Israel, but I wouldn't call him anti-Semitic. I wouldn't even say he's against Israel. I would say he just doesn't want to give them money. And, I would say he's consistent with his approach. Doesn't want to give foreign countries, doesn't want to help out foreign countries, wants to focus on America first, which makes a lot of sense. So I'm not going to blame him for that. Now, Candace, the thing about Candace is that you saw how Tucker said at the end, he's not implying that anybody was involved in the Charlie Kirk assassination. Israel was not involved. And I think that's the difference between him and Candace. I would say Candace is very much focused on Israel being the culprit of the assassination. Now, I think that's the difference between Candace and Tucker. I think Candace is implying that Israel did kill Charlie Kirk. And the reason why I think she is implying that, because if you look at all of her videos right after the Charlie Kirk assassination, the first one was a tribute. Second one was, first thing she spoke about was Bibi, before any questions about the investigation. And now, as we go through the videos, it seems that she is going questions about what happened that day. Second part of the video is Jewish donors were pressuring Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk was changing his mind about Israel. And obviously, she's trying to set this up very beautifully. And she's trying to show, oh, look, I have questions about this. I know this about Israel. So put two and two together. Israel killed Charlie. Even if that's not her intention, it's clearly the implication. And I think it's very deceptive. And I don't think that it's going to work, because I think people are smarter than that, and people will realize that that just because somebody was being pressured about something, it doesn't mean that they were involved in his death. So I don't think what Candace is doing is good. I think so far from what I've seen, the questions she has been raising are not legitimate. There are some oddities. I don't think what the point she's making about Israel, they could be true. I just don't think that it's in good faith. I don't think it's searching for truth. I don't think she's searching for truth. I think she's searching for someone to blame, and she's going to blame the person who she hates the most, which is Israel. So now let's take a look at Candace reacting to pastor commenting on her.
Charlie Kirk was my friend and I was his pastor. I want to simply say this regarding Candace Owens. Charlie Kirk was a friend to Candace and never publicly spoke poorly of her, though he disagreed with her. He never operated nor entertained gossip or innuendo concerning Candace. My only comment I offer regarding Candace is this: I only wish at this tragic time of mourning, she would be the friend to Charlie Kirk that he was to her. He would never have treated Candace or her family in such a way had, God forbid, this tragedy been hers. A friend loves at all times, and he drops a biblical proverb. Now, let me say this, okay? I hope that Charlie would have been the sort of friend that I'm being, okay? He would have never, why wouldn't Charlie Kirk have investigated if I had been killed and we were being so obviously lied to? I think you're wrong. I think Charlie was a real friend and he would not have dropped it. He would not have let it go, least of all because he was being emotionally manipulated by a guy who curiously kept his mouth shut when Bibi lied.
Okay, so Candace is upset. She is upset that the pastor was criticizing her for her investigation. Now, I think that she's right. She's not being a bad friend to Charlie by doing this. The only thing I think that is wrong is that she's making a big profit off of his death. Just don't find that to be so moral. I think that her first video, I just want to mention this, in her first video, she did not take money for it. She demonetized it. However, ever since that video, she has been making a fortune. And that just seems wrong to me. It just seems wrong. So in that way, she wasn't being a friend. I guess you could say it is being a friend because she's investigating, the murderer, which is a good thing. It's a good thing. I just question her motivations. And if she was really focused on the murder, she should be focusing on the murder and less about Israel. So to recap, I think that we've seen Candace is, she raised some questions. Some of the questions are decent. Some questions are not so decent. I don't think word choice is such an important question. I think why Tyler Robinson was wearing the same outfit is weird. I think that is weird. And besides for that, that's really the only piece of real evidence in these two videos that she brought. It's amazing. She fills 2 hours of time and she only has like one tiny piece of questioning evidence of what happened. Why, that's just some oddity. And I think clearly she's obviously trying to imply that Israel was behind this, and I don't think it's in good faith. But let's keep our minds open. Let's see what she has to say in the next 2 videos. See you guys tomorrow.